What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. How's everybody doing? Welcome to Coffee Talk. Welcome to your weekly forecast. So my name is April, and I am here with, I'm on astrolada.com. So I'm here to give you your weekly forecast from May 25th to June 1st of 2018. So this is the last week of May of 2018. Then we're getting into June, and then the year is pretty much halfway over already. Can you guys believe that? Oh my gosh, I can't believe that myself, of like how the year is almost over. It's crazy. But how's everybody doing? We're still in Gemini season. We have the sun in Gemini. We have Mercury entering Gemini this coming week that we're going to talk about as well. We have a full moon in Sag we're going to talk about, but Gemini, the sun in Gemini is involved in that full moon because they oppose each other. How many of you guys are Geminis or Virgos, or let me know if you guys have had like allergies, like allergy issues, allergies or sinuses, because Mercury rules the lungs and the breathing and stuff. And I've noticed that Gemini season tends to be one of those times of year where people tend to get more of those issues. Oh my gosh. Like I just had to pop some Advil right now because I've got this like sinus headache that developed, of course, right before I'm trying to go live. So, but I know like there's a lot of Geminis and Mercurial people that are around me that have really bad sinus and allergy problems. So hopefully you guys are getting along okay with all this Mercury in the air. Oh my gosh. Kalinda. Oh, okay. I hear you. You have allergy issues and you're a Pisces. Yeah, I noticed a lot of Pisces people that I know too. They have more of like the sinus thing, like because it's like Neptune can rule like invasive liquids or something, you know, building up. Your husband is a Gemini, Sun and Virgo rising. He has allergies pretty bad. Yeah, it's the Mercurials that have it the worst, I've noticed. Or if Gemini or Virgo on your 6th house cusp, or they are your rising sign, I've noticed that. But anyway, enough of that. How's everybody doing this Friday? There's a lot to talk about. And I'm going to do a full moon forecast for every sign. And also the coffee talk, I've started putting the celebrities that we're going to talk about in the title, because there are a lot of times where people, they request me to talk about certain celebrities. And then I'm like, oh, well, I already talked about them before. And I'm like, oh, crap. I wish I could remember what week it was that I talked about them so that you guys can go back and see. I'm going to start revamping some things actually, so it is easier for you guys to go back and reference like what celebrity chart was discussed. In case you're interested in that, I'm going to do that at some point. But yeah, so I started putting it in the title. So I will be talking about Britney Spears and Kevin Federline, their synastry. I find it to be very interesting. I've never looked at their synastry before, never really looked at their charts. And they are in the news right now currently because I think he's asking for more child support money from her for their kids. And I sometimes watch Wendy Williams, or I'll just like listen to her stuff that's on YouTube just to see like who is in the news right now as far as like celebrities and stories. So that way, if anything catches my attention, I'll look at it from an astrological perspective. And Wendy was talking about, you know, Britney and Kevin and their whole like debacle. So it piqued my interest, and for me to look at their charts, and I was like, you see, some things make sense here. So we'll be looking at their charts in the end to see stuff about relationships, about child support and all that stuff. Okay. So, and how to see it through astrology. Okay. So let's get started on your forecast. We have a Sagittarius full moon. And that's why I'm wearing a bright orange lipstick for you guys. Okay, I know some people be like, oh my God, but we don't care about those people. But that's why I'm wearing such a bright lipstick color, because Sagittarius, when I picture colors for Sag, I do picture bright. I picture oranges, like mostly bright orange, red, or yellow for Sagittarius. And also Sag energy is so happy-go-lucky, is so much about positivity everything in the world is awesome and positive. So that's why I'm wearing this shirt that says like a bunch of positivity stuff on it. To celebrate the full moon in Sagittarius. Hopefully it does sprinkle a lot of, you know, positivity amongst us as a collective. So, but what else is going on before the full moon? Before we get to that, let's talk about a couple of minor aspects that are going on. Actually today, which is May 25th, and I am recording this, there are several aspects that are affecting us. Well, number one, we have Mercury in a trine aspect to Pluto, and Mercury is our communication with one another. It's what we're thinking about. It's where our mind is the busiest all the time. And right now, Mercury is still in Taurus. And so Taurus is like more slow moving and more detailed and thorough with everything. And it's trine Pluto, which is about investigate, like Mercury trine Pluto. Pretty much with this aspect, I think of investigation. I think of really getting down deep into psychological things and figuring out what makes people tick, figuring out the root of problems and causes of things that happen that are not so great, and trying to understand them and trying to understand one another too. Pluto rules psychology, and it rules information that's hidden. So with Mercury being the relayer, whatever, the energy that relays information, right? Is Mercury. And Pluto is hidden info. So there is actually, you guys, you know what? Okay. Have you noticed that even more of this Me Too movement stuff is coming up? These allegations with these celebrities. And now today, there was something about Morgan Freeman, the actor Morgan Freeman, that came up. Oh my gosh, and Mercury is trine Pluto, and there's a lot of things being exposed. But don't forget that Jupiter is in Scorpio, which is ruled by Pluto. So it's already like really blowing all this stuff, this Me Too stuff up. Like Jupiter is like a projector, you know, projecting a lot of things out there really big for us to see. And oh, yes. Thanks for reminding me, Kalinda, about Harvey Weinstein. I saw a headline that said that he's going to be turning himself into police or something like that, supposedly. But yeah, now, yes, I know. Now Morgan Freeman is under investigation for some kind of allegations too, okay? And I haven't had a chance to look at his chart. I saw this while I was getting ready to come on here. But Mercury trine Pluto is another one of those transits that are even further digging and investigating into things that are taboo, things that are on the darker side of life. And it can be things regarding, well, Pluto does rule Scorpio. Scorpio does rule sex. Okay, so stuff to do with that, bringing it out to the forefront. So yeah, I know. I can't believe it either. Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. Thanks. Hey, what's up, Kimara? Yeah, thanks for letting me know that. Okay, I don't know. That's okay. He went to the police and he is being charged for multiple things. Oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah, crazy stuff, right? But besides that, what's good about Mercury trine Pluto? Okay, so yes, uncovering secrets does happen during a transit like this, but it can be also like discovering something that's really cool though. Okay, that was once hidden that you never knew before, but now it's like, oh, wow, I never knew this. This is awesome. So yeah. So if you are in the type of career, hobby, job position, something that you do in life that requires you to really get to the depth of things and get down to the nitty gritty, to the bottom, and to get hidden information and bring it to light, the next couple days are really good for you, you know. Or if you're somebody that feels like, my suspicions about something, I want to check them out, you know, and you feel suspicious about something or someone and you want to investigate, well, this is one of those transits where some things like that can come to light too, you know. So that's Mercury trine Pluto. Now, trines are positive aspects, okay? So it's like those two planets and their energies are working together to usually bring good things. But sometimes it can just be like a gateway, like an opening of a door, of a can of worms, like that saying that we say all the time. And so don't allow it to make you paranoid or to really be overly like overdoing it with investigating someone or something, like and suspicions and stuff like that. Don't be overdoing it. Okay, but it is good for finding out the truth of the matter in a lot of different situations and scenarios in life. So, and also having great concentration for any type of research. It doesn't mean it has to be for a job, like a specific kind of job. It can mean anything that you are interested in finding out a lot more about, really diving deep and finding those answers. So yeah, that's Mercury trine Pluto today. Venus is in an opposition to Saturn today on the 25th of May. And also remember, guys, when I give the exact dates of these influences, usually it's like a few days before and a few days after we can feel and be and see the effects of the influences of these transits. So it's not only today, okay, and then it's over and then it's done with. So what else we have? Venus in an opposition to Saturn. Yes. So Venus opposite Saturn. This is well, people can be really thinking. Actually, this reminds me, I had a colleague hit me up right before I came on live here that was thinking about marriage and wanting me to look at like some marriage aspect in their chart and what that means. And Venus is relationships, long-term relationships, marriage, partnerships, and everything. And then Saturn is about the long run. Saturn doesn't play games. Saturn is about seriousness, and stability and commitments to things. So a Venus in an opposition to Saturn, I always see with Venus-Saturn aspect transits, people thinking a lot more about marriage and their relationship. If they're already in a relationship, they're like, okay, so where's this relationship going? What's the direction? Like, tell me your 5-year plan. Saturn and Capricorn energy are all about that 5-year plan, right? So Saturn is telling Venus to ask these questions within relationships. What's really going on here? Or if you're single, it's like, well, why am I still single? Do I want to be married? And if so, how am I going to get to that goal? Saturn could be about goals too, of having a happy, long-lasting marriage. There's a lot of that in the air with relationships, partnered with seriousness, goals, and things like that with Venus and Saturn. But also people could be thinking about their money, like calming down with their spending and stuff, if you have been indulgent or anything, which we do have Jupiter in Scorpio, and it has been making an opposition to Mercury in Taurus this past week. And I didn't people kind of were a little bit too Jupiterian in nature with not thinking ahead, only thinking about the moment and gratification within the moment, which can lead to spending a little more than you usually would, So that's why I say that. But a Venus and Saturn opposition could be like, okay, you know what? Now we need to be serious. We need to budget. We have goals to meet, So it can have us being like that as well, making some long-term business plans and looking at wants versus needs a little bit more closely when it comes to money and material things too. So yeah, that's what we could be looking at with a Venus and Saturn opposition. Some people can be kind of like, feeling a little bit of disappointment over love or something too, because Saturn could be a very harsh energy and it's serious. It's like it's a very serious energy. So some people can be like, woe is me. I don't have anybody. I'm single, or, I have these relationship issues, and just kind of thinking about those a little bit more too. So don't allow it to get you down like that, but rather just think more about goals. If you're single, why are you single? How can you get that love that you want and a long-lasting one? If your relationship is going through problems, what can you do to fix them? Saturn is about fixing things, not just dwelling and wallowing and complaining. It's like, okay, where do we go from here? Okay, all emotions, messy emotions aside, what's the goal? What's the plan? Right? So it can help you out with your relationship relationships that are already established, if that applies to you. So next, we also today have Jupiter and Neptune are trine exactly. Oh my gosh, this is such a beautiful transit. It's beautiful. I feel like Jupiter trine Neptune. You know, Neptune is like the gateway to the other side. And I know for some people they'll be like, "Oh my God, that sounds creepy." No, it is the gateway to the unseen world, the spirit realm, the angelic realm, where our loved ones are waiting for us, hopefully, you know. That area of our existence is ruled by Neptune. And Jupiter making a trine aspect can have us a little bit more connected at this time. So it could be a time where if you want to connect with loved ones that have passed on, and you know, believe in mediumship and or you believe in your own ways of connecting with that realm, maybe you'll have a little bit more clearer, sharper messages come through, like your antenna's a little bit sharper, you know. Venus trine Neptune. This is a very dreamy, beautiful aspect that can have people, you know, Jupiter is about higher learning and higher knowledge. So if you want to learn more about Neptunian things, which can include the, you know, spirituality, like anything spiritual, whether that's religion or it's, you know, what we do here on this platform, which is we have psychics, mediums, intuitives, tarot readers, astrologers, you know, people that are tuned into that Neptune channel. You know, it's maybe learning a bit more about that stuff and actually like being able to retain the information so much easier, you know. So yeah. Let me see what you guys are saying. Oh my gosh. So Lily says Neptune in my first house, and I often see loved ones repeatedly for months right before and after they transition. Neptune is beautiful, right? Neptune is a trip. Oh my gosh. I totally believe it. People, especially that have Neptune in a very prominent, strong position in their natal charts, or you have 12th house energy or something like that, usually are able to connect to the other side very easily. Or maybe you have like the ruler of your, like I have the ruler of my ascendant in the 12th, along with several other Neptunian things in my chart. And I've had that happen before. Like before like 6 months before my grandpa passed, he let me know in a dream that he was going to pass. And it was scary, but I knew it was true in my heart, but I just tried to, you know, put it away. But it was true. So, you know, some people who have Neptune connection, highly Neptunian connections in their own chart, maybe your senses to tune into that can be heightened at this time. I know mine are totally. I have so many stories like that I could share for hours and hours, you guys. I'm telling you. It's really cool stuff. And even if you don't have a strong Neptunian presence in your own chart, you can still tap in with a transit like this, you know? So, yeah. Hey, what's up, Steph? Hello. All right. So anyway, yeah, Jupiter and Neptune trine, dreamy, spiritual. It's good for faraway voyages and trips too, because Jupiter does rule trips and vacations, and Neptune rules the ocean. So, you know, this is the summertime, the beginning of the summer in some regions of our world. And, you know, it's a good time to take a trip to Neptune land physically, or to just to somewhere that's like really far away from you. It doesn't have to be near water. That could be like a spiritual type of a trip, you know. So lots of spiritual experiences can happen under this type of a transit. If you are under one, please share. Please let me know. Please share in the comments or in the chat if you're live. I love stories like that. And I don't always get to go back and like reply to everybody, but I do sometimes get to go back and read you guys' comments under the video once it's recorded. I mostly look for if you guys have any suggestions for like who to talk about in the next like coffee talk or something like that. But yeah, or if you're sharing experiences under the transits, like I said, I don't always get to comment, but I do read stuff like that. So any Jupiter, Neptune spiritual stuff, please share. I love those stories. So yeah, we're under that influence right now this coming week as well. Oh my gosh, sorry guys. I told you my allergies are acting up. But okay, so we also have Mercury going into Gemini. So Mercury going into Gemini, speaking of allergies and itchiness, right? Oh my gosh. And let me take a sip of my peppermint tea as well. And look at this new cup I got. It's hot pink. Oh my gosh, it's a bright color. I just a bright Sag moon, you know, Sag. I don't picture hot pink being a Sag color necessarily, but just bright, sunny, happy, positive, you know, whatever gives you that feeling. Like this is a bright color. So sorry, I think my broadcast is like going in and out as well. Let me just take a sip real quick. Oh, wow. Stephen or Stefan, what an interesting story that you have with that whole Neptune thing. Interesting. Oh my gosh. Oh, Chastity, we haven't gotten to the individual forecast yet for the full moon. We're just talking, we're just chatting about the other transits. So you can always come back to the replay and hear what you have missed. So let's talk about Mercury and Gemini. Okay, so Mercury enters Gemini this week on May 29th, and it'll remain in the sign of Gemini in one of its home signs until June the 12th. So yeah, when Mercury's not retrograde or in shadow or anything, guys, he only hangs out for just a quick hot second in the sign. He's just trying to get on to the next sign. You know, he's in Gemini for a second, then okay, now let me move on to Cancer. Okay, now let me move on, you know. So Mercury and Gemini, I think as a collective, it's going to be a fun energy, of course. It is a fun energy. I noticed during Gemini season, people sharing a lot more memes and jokes and tagging each other in funny things online or even in person, just cracking more jokes with each other. The wit is just so quick. It's so fast. It's so fun. To me, it's like a fun energy. But we may be having a shorter attention span as a collective. We may, you know, some of us, especially if you are mercurial in nature, like your chart is ruled by Mercury in one way or another, you may be wanting to try to do multiple things at once, multitasking, looking at your computer at the same time as you're watching something on TV, at the same time you're doing something on your phone, at the same time you're doing something on your iPad. You know what I'm saying? That is Gemini all day. Okay. So as a collective, we may be more in that zone, in that energy of like, okay, this, that, here, there. Oh my God. It's like a Tasmanian devil energy in a way. So people will be talking faster. People will be having their eyes dart around. Yeah. Yeah, I'm listening. No, I'm listening. And then you'll be like, okay, well, what did I say then? Oh, and then they'll repeat like the last two words that you said and try to like make it seem like you were not listening. Like my husband's a Gemini moon, right? I always tell him, you weren't listening. You were Gemini listening. That means you halfway heard a few words and then you were able to come back and, you know, like be a little smarty pants and regurgitate a little bit of stuff and make it seem like you were listening, but you were not listening in depth. Okay, don't try to play. So we all may be prone to Gemini listening, which is like just kind of taking a word here, there, yep, trying to talk to different people at the same time and all of that good Gemini stuff. Oh my gosh, as a Taurus, Mercury, oh, that drives me bonkers. I can deal with it though, because I have a lot of Geminis close to me. I'm used to it. But still, what used to kill me is when one of my best friends, who is a third house moon and a Gemini rising, I used to call her crying my eyes out about my relationship problems when we were young, right? Oh my God, and I think he's cheating on me. Like, I found a note from a chick in his room and I saw this phone number on the bill and da-da-da-da, right? And she's like, oh yeah, then she started talking to other people. Or her boyfriend's in the room and then she's like, oh, stop. And I'm here crying and then he did this. And I'm like, Are you listening? Ah, stop. Yeah, girl, I'm listening. Go ahead. Go ahead. Continue. And I'm like, after a while, I would get so mad. Like, you know what? I'll talk to you later. And I would hang up. Bam. Because you know what? That Gemini listening doesn't do well with like those type of deep conversations that are so emotional in nature. Oh my gosh. Even to this day, if we get together and there's more than one of us, there's three of us, right? Her and my other Gemini friend, I'll be like, yeah, you guys, let's catch up. Okay, so this happened, and this serious story. And then they turn to each other and start talking and having this whole other conversation. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's good, right? Yeah, no, it's a good one. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'll just sit there staring at them like this. Like that little googly-eyed meme. Like, and then like, oh, you can continue talking. Yeah, talking to myself. Okay, no thanks. Oh my gosh. So yeah, Mercury and Gemini can be a little bit like that sometimes. Okay, so we may all be feeling that as a collective. It doesn't matter if you're Gemini or not. You may be prone to kind of, your mind is just here and there and there and there, so it's kind of hard to focus, and you can get bored easily. You may want to, like I said, be looking at different things at the same time. It's really hard. It's really hard. Hold on, let me take a sip and see what you guys are saying really quick here. Oh my gosh, Vanessa says, my girlfriend is bad about that. Talking to other people in the background and don't say hold on or nothing. Oh my gosh. And Mercury, which rules Gemini, and Gemini itself, they're like childlike energy. It's only the third sign into the zodiac. So it's still very young and youthful. And Mercury, sometimes in some methods in astrology, is said to rule children. It can rule like a childlike energy. And I noticed that it doesn't matter what sign your children are. Okay, do any of you, if you actually speak on the phone, not just text, but like talk on the phone, do you notice that your kids want to come up and talk to you while you're on a phone call? But when you're not on the phone, they're off doing their own thing. But as soon as you get on the phone, Mom, Dad, I need this, I need that. And they're trying to like get your attention. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so mercurial, right? Like, I'm on the phone. Why didn't you tell me this 2 seconds ago before I push the call button? So yeah, that reminds me of Gemini energy too, and how Mercury can kind of be in Gemini. So yeah, let's see. Oh, your husband. Oh, so your husband says it's all in your head. Yeah, if you have Mercury retrograde in your chart, a lot of stuff like that is like internal, Mysterious Moon says, my husband sits and stares after I interrupt him and asks, are you done? Oh my gosh, you guys have no idea. I love Gemini energy so much. It's so fun and funny. And Gemini people and the energy of it is just like so humorous. I love Geminis because I can clown with them about this stuff and they don't get butthurt, They're not going to be like, you're mean, you're making fun, you hate us. No, they clown right along with this whole thing, about how they are. Awesome. Okay. I was talking to a friend about depressing news. Friend says, oh my God. I said, I know it's terrible. Friend sends an Amazon link. I love these shoes. Yeah, that's how Mercury and Gemini is. So true. So true. I wish I could read the language that your name is in to quote you. But yeah, I see you. I see your comment. All right. So Mercury and Gemini, you guys, like, just try to have the patience. If especially people who are Geminis themselves are extra like all over the place, Tasmanian devil brain, just like try to have the patience. It's not going to last very long. It's only for literally like 2 weeks, okay, that is going to be in this energy, and just enjoy it. Just join in, if somebody moves on to the next subject, try not to get mad. Keep it moving along with them. Maybe it could be fun. You know what I'm saying? I know it's hard for us fixed Mercury's and Mercury and Earth and Mercury and water to get down with that, but for a temporary period of time, come on, guys, let's just get with it. Have a little fun with Mercury and Gemini. Okay, all right. So Oh, this Advil is kicking in. Thank God. Thank goodness. I feel a little bit more like myself, if you guys can't tell. Okay, so we're going to get to this full moon. We're going to get to this full moon in the sign of Gemini, or Sagittarius. My bad. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Okay, excuse me. So we're going to get into the full moon in Sagittarius. So this is also on the 29th. So the day that we're going to have, actually by the time, the exact time, we're going to have the full moon in Sag first. Then we're going to have Mercury go into Gemini later on in the evening, you know, depending upon where you're at. But excuse me. So the full moon in Sagittarius. Okay. Now, what is a full moon for those who are newbies or whatever? Full moon is when the moon and the sun are in opposing signs to one another. And so it is like it's a conflicting energy. That's why there's tension during full moons. That's why you notice people being extra emotional or angry or anything, like emotions that are just like, they seem like they're just gonna like lash out. You know, that's why people do lash out during full moons, is because the opposition between the sun and moon energy should be this, oh no, it should be that way. A back and forth type of an energy. So with full moons, there's like something that has to give. Just like in regular life, if there's two opposing signs, something has to give in order for them to come to each other. Okay, so because of that, sorry, I think the broadcast is going in and out. Sama, oh hey, what's up, Sama? Oh, thank you. Is the tea still hot? I made it right before we went live, so yes, it is. This tea is still, well, it's warm. So the full moon is a time of tension. It's intense feelings. The moon rules our emotions. So emotions are very, very intense during that time, during that day, especially at the peak of the full moon. If you pay attention to, you know, the time that it's at its peak and what's going on around you and what you're thinking about, you know, that's the time. That's why we say set your intentions with the full moon at the time of the full moon, because that's when the energy is so strong and potent. Anyway, so that's what a full moon is. Now with Sagittarius, Sag, it rules our higher mind. So our ability to see things from a broad perspective is Sagittarius. That's why it rules travel, because what happens when you travel to places that you've never been before, places that are outside of your day-to-day, places that are away from home? You usually learn. You see different different people, different neighborhoods. You hear a different dialect or a different language. And it's like, oh, okay, you know, and you see that there's so much more than what you know about yourself and your peers and your people, your neighborhood, your city. There's so much more outside of that. And traveling opens your mind to that, right? So that's why Sag rules that. Sag also rules education, because that's what broadens your mind too, because you learn things that you've never really known about in depth before. Like the opposite end is Gemini, which is picking up bits and pieces of information. And like I said earlier, with Mercury and Gemini, it's like you pick up a couple words here and there, and then you're able to like regurgitate a whole dissertation based on like 3 words that might be a little off from the truth, okay? But you can fake it, right? That's Gemini. But Sag is more like, no, I'm going to read this whole like thick book, okay? Like I'm reading this whole giant, long 300-page book, and I'm going to do an essay about it and an outline and all that school stuff, right? I'm going to do all of that to really retain all of the info. So that's Sagittarius. Sag, it does rule, you know, preaching and philosophy, philosophizing. It rules our opinion, our political beliefs, even religious beliefs for people too. It's what you really truly believe in. And that's why Sag can rule beliefs, but also like the belief in a higher power, the belief in a brighter day is Sagittarius. If you know any Sag people, or you are a Sag yourself, you know how you guys can be. It's like You guys are some of the most optimistic people on the planet. It's what I love about Sagittarius. Like, you know, people who, like myself, are very fixed in nature, very grounded, because I have a lot of earth energy, and I'm very emotional because I have water energy. It's hard for us to see a brighter day. We think things are going to be permanent. We think things are gloom and doom. Sag energy is here to say, oh no, that's not all there is. There's so much more. You just have to look around. You have to find the positive. You know, you got to seek it out. So that's what Sag energy represents. That's why it's so like optimistic. It rules optimism and faith and belief, because you know, that's why I've noticed that a lot of Sag people, Sag also rules playing the lottery and going to the casino, gambling and stuff, because, and usually all the Sages I know, they go there all the time and they just come back with money. They put even like, you know, a couple quarters in a machine, bing, 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 $400. Oh yeah, it's nothing. And I'm like, how, Sway? How? I don't get it. It's that belief, that energy of so much faith that, yeah, things are going to be working out in my favor. So therefore, it's like a daring and bold energy that'll go for things, because it's like, I don't see failure in my path. So let's just do it. Let's do it, you know? So that's what Sag energy represents. So we'll have a sprinkle of that, you know, as a collective, even if you're not a Sag, to, you know, being brought to us to bask in and vibe in. So just as a general explanation of a full moon in Sagittarius is, you know, what do you truly believe in, and what do you truly believe about yourself and about your world, and what would you like to learn more about in the human existence, you know, and how can you do that? What do you want to explore that you've never, or experience that you've never experienced before? You know, Sag is also life experiences that really change your life, change your perspective. So, you know, the full moon can be bringing that. It can be bringing that. Okay, I'm trying to see your comments. Okay, so yeah, that's a full moon in Sagittarius. So this happens on the 29th. So I will go through every sign. Let's see. What do I do to actually work with the energy? Do I meditate? Everybody is different. I know that especially for people who have Gemini or Virgo in certain positions, like, you know, stuff like that, it's hard to sit still and have your mind be still enough to meditate. Like, that's not for everybody. You know, some people's meditation is driving and having silence and only being in tune with their own minds. You know what I'm saying? It's different for everybody. But whatever you do to like really deeply think about things and focus in on them, that's what you do. You know, some people, they write things down with the full moon to set intentions and goals and things. They write things down. Some people write it down, they burn it, send it all up into the atmosphere, you know, and hopefully the good things come trickling down to them. Some people write things down and they, you know, put it with like a crystal or something that's good luck, or under their pillow. I mean, there's lots of things you can do to set your intentions. But driving sounds good. Yeah, I hear you. That's how I meditate. I have Mercury conjunct the sun in my chart. I cannot sit. And then plus I'm always interrupted by people around me all the time with having a family. So going on a drive whenever someone's like, hey, I need you to pick me up or whatever, you know, it might be like, okay, but the drive alone, that's meditation time for me, you know? So let me know if any of you guys are like that too. Okay. So now let's get into the horoscopes. And I see a couple of questions as well, which will be answered when I get to your horoscope. So listen to your rising sign as well as your sun sign. Okay, the rising is the most accurate. The sun is secondary with being accurate. And then the moon sign is more like your feelings about things and your like perception, your like emotional perception of what's going on around you. So yeah, okay. So let's get into the full moon in Sagittarius. Okay. So For Aries people, the full moon in Sag is in your 9th house. It's actually between your 9th and your 3rd houses. So for Aries people, you guys may be making some kind of major Sag decisions, which have to do with what I just spoke about, which could be travel or like, you know, making plans for a big trip, finalizing those plans, or your education, you know, finalizing educational plans. There's a lot of people that have graduated or are about to graduate at this time of year, you know. So it's if you are graduating, maybe it's like, well, what's my next step? What's my goal? What school am I going to go to continue my education? Or what training am I going to go into, or trade or something, you know? So Aries people can be making big decisions about that. It could be that you discover something about your beliefs that are life-changing, that change your mind about what if you have a belief system or whatever, you know, or your opinions that you had about something that are very strong. Now it's like, you know, you discover something that's like making you reconsider what you label your beliefs as. It could be also for Aries people, if you have been lacking in optimism, this full moon could be like, you know what? I appreciate just being able to breathe, okay? Just waking up and say, I can breathe. I can breathe. I can see. I have eyes and I can see. I see the world around me. I see this. I see that. I have a home. I have a roof. I have food. Like, there's so much to be thankful for, you know? So that's Sag energy lives like that day to day. Well, most of them do. Okay. Just the energy itself of Sag is like that. So Aries, you may need like a little touch of that in your life, and, you know, to see life from that perspective instead of the 3rd house, which can be a little bit more petty, to be honest, like just little day-to-day little things, you know. But 9th house, where the full moon is at, is what's beyond my day-to-day. So, you know, that's for Aries people. So Taurus people, Taurus sun, moon, or rising, the full moon in Sag is going to be in your 8th house. Actually, it's going to be between your 8th and your 2nd. So this is interesting for Taurus people. These 2 houses rule money, and you also rule money, Taurus. So this could be something in regards to finances. That's a major decision. It could be that your partner's income changes, or if you had a joint partnership with someone, like a way that you're making money along with another person or other people, maybe there's something that can change with that. It's usually like full moons are times when I see a lot of people like launch things too. Full moons and new moons both. I see people launch things like that they've been working on for a while. They've had something brewing, you know, and then with the full moon, it's like, okay, I'm releasing it out there. I can't keep it secret anymore. So some Tauruses, you guys may have some things brewing that you're working on that, you know, can make you a little money that you're going to, you know, finally bring to the world, you know. And the 8th house is like also something to do with maybe there's inheritances, like you have an inheritance, maybe you've been going to court for something. It could be taxes, it could be like child support. We find stuff like that in the 8th house too, or alimony that's owed to you, or a lawsuit that has money that's owed to you. It's a finalization of something. There's a breaking point where it's like, okay, finally I'm going to get paid for this thing, you know, for this money that people owe me. Okay. So, yeah, so that's what it could be for Taurus, is something to do with finances, or maybe it's finally breaking free from, if you've been mostly just supported by family or supported by some other means and not your own, you know, maybe it's like some kind of a breakthrough that changes that. And maybe you find another way to like support yourself, you know, so it's that axis there that's affected. So for Gemini, sun, moon, or rising, the full moon in Sagittarius is in your 7th house. So this is your relationships. So there's some kind of decision that you want to make in regards to relationships, and it does affect you. You are involved too. It's not just like your partner, you know, it's something that like there could be a decision, like maybe you want to commit, but your partner doesn't, or vice versa, or you want to take things to the next level, or your partner does, and you guys have to come into a middle ground and an agreement of what you want to do with this this lovely union that you have, you know, the relationship that you have. What do you want to do with it? Like, are you guys agreeing upon, you know, getting together, committing, divorcing, being engaged, being married? What is it? You know, so Gemini moons, Gemini rising. Yes. You know, I was just watching a YouTuber earlier. You guys know I love YouTubers. And they just released a video about their divorce. And I have always suspected her to be a Gemini rising. And she just finally said, yeah, I'm going through a divorce. And here's this full moon coming up in Sag. So, you know, could be, like, she could definitely be a Gemini rising. You know what I'm saying? So some of you guys can be making some tough decisions that are very emotional about your relationships, or it could be some emotionally filled decisions that bring like really good new beginnings between you and another person. Okay, Gemini. All right. Yes, Kate. She knows who. Yes, you guys know who I'm talking about. Jacqueline Hill. Yes. I think she's a Gemini rising. I really do. She's a Cancer. Yes, and she has a Saturn in her solar 7th house right now. And if she's a Gemini rising, well, Gemini's 8th house is Capricorn. And a lot of people, I know several Gemini risings that are having Saturn in the 8th right now, and they are going through divorces, unfortunately. Or when Saturn was in their 7th in Sagittarius, they had a lot of issues in the marriage. They tried to work it out. Then as soon as it hit Capricorn, it was like, okay, no more, you know? So I don't know. That's why I'm like, I think she might be a Gemini rising. Who knows? Who knows? Okay. Yes. Yeah. So, okay. So that's for Geminis. Hopefully it's some good stuff though. Hopefully all you guys are not like getting divorces and everything. Maybe it's some good things, like the announcement of a marriage, or guess what? We're engaged. We decided to be committed, you know, or somebody finally says, hey, I love you. And that's a new layer in your relationship too. Could be some good stuff. Okay. All right. So next up is Cancer. Cancer, sun, moon, or rising. The full moon in Sag is in your 6th house. Okay, it's between the 6th and 12th house axis. So with that being said, this is your health and this is your work. This is a decision that could be made that's based on like maybe a job, you know, whether or not to stay at a job, whether or not to take a job. Okay, like it could be that you've been applying for different jobs and, you know, there's like 2 of them that you're interviewing for, and you got to like try to decide like, okay, which one am I going to pick? Which one is the best fit for me? Something like that. But it can also be full moons, especially if you are a Cancer. This is your ruling luminary. Okay. So you guys know how you can get. You just get filled with emotion, and that's what you base your decisions on. So some Cancers could be quitting jobs. Like if things have been brewing for a while with your job and you're just like, a full moon is that point where you're just like, I can't take it anymore. I can't stand this, you know? So you make a move and you may quit a job. But it could be something that, like I said, it could be positive to where you decide to take a different job, something that's different than what you've ever done before. It's a new profession, or just, you know, I don't know, whatever your reasons are. Could be a new job, all right? Or could be leaving a job. Also for Cancers, oh my God, sorry. For Cancers, it could be also something to do with working a lot. Like maybe, excuse me, you've been working a lot and you don't really give yourself a lot of time off, because this is affecting the 12th house too, where the sun part of this configuration is at. Okay. So it could be, oh, work. Don't really take any time off. And now it's affecting my health, and I'm drained emotionally, physically, spiritually. And it's hard for me to like give myself to be able to work, you know? So then you decide, you know what, I'm going to take some time off. And, you know, all the Gemini stuff is your 12th house, Cancer. So we've got the sun still going to be there even after this full moon. Mercury's going to be there. So that's, you know, those are big time personal planets that really affect you personally day to day, very strongly. So you're going to have that 12th house energy hanging out. That's maybe telling you, take time for yourself. Okay. Don't work so hard, too hard. All right. Now, as far as health, it could be that you guys decide to change your diet. You decide to change up something with your exercise routine or start exercising or switch gyms. Maybe you decide to just quit a bad habit for some of you guys. Any of that can happen with the full moon in the 6th house, or complete a work project that has been in the works for a while. Finally get something done with that. Okay. Interesting stuff. Thanks for the input, you guys. Okay. So next up is Leo, sun, moon, or rising. How's the full moon in Sag affecting you guys? So this is your 5th house. Hey, okay. 5th house energy, fun. Dating, good stuff is 5th house. So a full moon here can mean some kind of decision that you make that's final, that has to do with dating for Leos. Maybe it's like, you know, whether or not take things to the next level with somebody that you've been casually dating and seeing and talking to for a minute, okay, and take things to the next the next level, which is the 7th house. So maybe it's that type of decision, or it could be a decision to cut somebody off that you've been romantically involved in as well. Maybe they're just a little too much for you, Leo, too much, or maybe they're too little. I don't mean like that. You know what I'm saying? Leo, no. I mean, they're not up to, okay, how do I get myself out? They're not up to where you want them to be romantically with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not enough, because Leo needs a lot of affection, needs a lot of attention usually. So that's what I mean by there's too little of that with somebody that you're romantically involved in. And you're like, I can't take it anymore. There's something ever compliment me. You hardly ever even acknowledge the effort that I put into doing this mane, okay, or getting dressed, or doing my makeup, or getting my hair cut nice, or whatever. You hardly give me that type of attention. So are you going to or not? There is not. Well, I have to have it. I'm gonna go find it somewhere else. So it could be that kind of decision as well for Leos. Okay, so I hope everything works out in your favor. You need to speak up. If, you know, this full moon is a speaking up full moon, it's in a fellow fire sign. Fire signs, you cannot keep their mouth shut if there's something they have to say. So you'll definitely be saying something, okay? And it could be in regards to your romantic relationships. It could be also, this is another creative energy. So you could be creating something, Leo, and releasing it out into the world, especially because on the opposite end is Gemini. That's your 11th house. So the 11th house is the internet. It's social media. So you could decide to release a project, you know, that way. It could be for some Leos that there's a decision that's made based on children. Like if you have children, or whether or not you are going to have children, like if you want children and you're talking with a partner, like, so are we going to pop out some babies or no? You know, is that what you want or no? So decisions based around kids could also be happening too for you guys. So I wish you guys the best for Leo people. So next up is Virgo, sun, moon, or rising, house of full moon in Sag affecting you guys. So this is in your 4th house for Virgo, which is your family. It's where you live. It's where you rest your head at night and where you are comfortable. So this for Virgos, some of you guys could be moving, could be a decision to move. For some of you, it could be relocating due to a job, because we have the 10th house on the opposite end where the sun is hanging out, Mercury's hanging out, making big decisions based on career, or having a lot of the spotlight and the attention on you in the public eye, or within your job, work, career. Okay. And so because of that, there could be something that's going on up there in the 10th house that affects your family in the 4th house. So maybe it's like a schedule change, because maybe your family is going through something. They need more of your time. They need more of your energy. And you've been like putting in a lot of work. But it's just like, okay, well, Virgo, what about us? Us can mean your pets too, okay? So if you're a Virgo, Virgos usually love pets. Doesn't have to mean like you have a wife or husband and kids. It can mean like even your pets, like they need your attention, you know? So there's something that could come up to bring that to light. Or it could be that some of you guys just, yeah, you're making a decision about where to live or whether to move out of somewhere, or you could be finalizing moving into a house, or maybe you've got roommates that you need to kick out, you know, or even family members that live with you that you're just like, look, no, I need you to step because whatever, you know, whatever my standards are, you're not meeting them. You're not cleaning up after yourselves. Okay, so you gotta go. So there's something based around the home and the family area for Virgos, and it could also be something that involves your career that's, you know, trickled into it in the mix too. Okay. Manuela, thank you so much for coming through. Oh my gosh. Manuela is here. Thank you, girl. I appreciate your support. She is also in the occult studies as well. Manuela is. Okay. So next up is Libra. Libra, sun, moon, or rising. How's the full moon in Sag affecting you guys? Just one sec. Okay, so Libra, this is your third house. So some of you Libras, this is a decision based on education for you guys as well, just like your opposite sign of Aries. So maybe there's like a certification you want to get, a new skill that you want to learn, and it's like a decision to dive into that, whether or not to dive into that. Get it going, get it started, or you can be completing something that you've been learning. So for Libras also, I've seen a full moon, people, they have to get new cars, or they finalize some repairs on their vehicles. Yeah, that's true. You know what? Because I know somebody who had a full moon in their third house last month, and that's exactly what they did. They had repairs finalized on their car, you know? So for some of you guys, it could be that, because the third house is like how you are getting around day to day to the places that you have to go, the errands that you have to run, and everything else. So could be affecting that. The third house is your siblings and your cousins. And so that maybe there could be, try to avoid like heated arguments with those people, because a full moon in the third can have you really emotionally charged with your conversations with those family members, you know, and making decisions that are just based on your brain flooded with nothing but emotions, no logic. Okay. So a full moon in the third house. Yeah, this could be a decision to actually go to, like, move to a new area too, even though the fourth house is your home. The third house is like the neighborhood. So maybe like you're scoping out a new neighborhood and you decide to relocate there, you know, just like the ninth house where the opposite end is at, is like relocating to another country or another state, somewhere far, far away. But the third house is like, well, you know, I kind of like this other neighborhood, you know, it's a little bit nicer, whatever. So maybe a decision to go to relocate there. So that's for the full moon in the third house for Libra people. So next up is Scorpio, sun, moon, or rising. The full moon in Sag is affecting money for Scorpio. It's in your second house. It's on the axis of the second and eighth. So for you guys, it could be for you as well as your opposite sign, a decision to maybe take a job, take a second job, change jobs, go to a higher paying job. Maybe there's something with your pay that changes within a current job, like you get a raise, or maybe they even reduce your pay or your hours. And now what are you going to do about it? You know, what are you going to do to keep bringing in that money and taking care of your resources, which is the second house? It could be, yeah, that you decide to start making money off of something that you're talented in, Scorpio. Okay. It could be that you decide to stop paying for something that is in your budget, but it's like it's unnecessary, like wants versus needs, necessities, and things like that. With which where you put your money is the second and eighth house axis. So some of you guys could be making decisions like that. Like, okay, you know what? We buy bottled water all the time. So instead of doing that, I'm going to cut it off and just buy a filter instead. Or I'm going to stop buying this certain fancy brand of something and then buy like a cheaper brand. You know, it could be little things like that, but they can make a big impact in the long run on your finances. It could be paying some things off too, or it could be accumulating a large financial responsibility. Like maybe some of you guys could be buying a car, buying a house, buying a boat, buying, I don't know, something that's a big ticket item, like we used to call when I worked in credit, when I worked in credit back in the day for a credit card company, big ticket items that are something you have to finance and you have to pay payments on, you know, like a big investment. So yeah, there's something changing with money for Scorpios. Mysterious Moon asked the lotto. You know what? With Sagittarius being involved, I don't know. It could be. And Jupiter is in our sign. Oh my gosh. For Scorpios, Jupiter is a sign of good luck. And then we've got also the week following the full moon, we've got, I think there's like a trine between Venus and Neptune. Venus, Neptune, and Jupiter, I think. I'll tell you guys about that when that comes up. But I was listening to another forecast the other day for June, and that came up. It was like, Scorpios, you could be winning the lottery in June. And I'm like, hold up. You know, I'm a Scorpio rising. I'm going to Vegas in June. I don't like to gamble. But with this full moon in Sag in the second house, and then those other little aspects popping off, I don't know, Scorpios, what do you think? You think I should gamble? You think I should put something in the quarter machines? Are you guys going to be playing the lottery, Scorpio? I don't know. Let me know. Let me know if you guys have any good luck with that. And then I'll see if I'll be daring enough to do that under this full moon influence. Who knows? But something with money will change for Scorpios for sure. Could be something that you decide to do yourself. Could be other influences that cause you to make some kind of a change as well. Okay? All right. So next up is Sagittarius. Sagittarius, how's the full moon in Sagittarius affecting you? This is in your sign. It can be anything changing in your life. It could be you looking at yourself in a different perspective, you know, a different way, wanting to change your appearance, wanting to dress differently, wanting to do something different with your hair, with your appearance, you know, how you appear to the world. It could be a decision to make like a really drastic change with your appearance, like a plastic surgery or procedure or something, you know, getting work done, as they say, okay, or getting pumped, all right? Like I know in the drag world, they say getting pumped, like getting pumped with silicone and Juvederm. So some Sagittarius could be making that decision, you know, to get some kind of a work done like that to improve your appearance. Now, some of you guys, it could be just you want to change your life path. There's something about your life that you want to change overall, just to be a better person, a better version of yourself. So this could involve a relationship because the opposite end of the moon is the sun. Where's it at? In your 7th house of relationships. So could be letting go of a relationship for the sake of bettering your life. Like someone was toxic. They were just holding you back from being your true or your best self. You know, Sag energy in general is all about being your best self. And so this full moon is definitely about that for you guys. So anybody that holds you back from that, it could be a romantic relationship. It could be a business partnership. It could be just anybody in general, people in general, the 7th house of others. And maybe you just cut them off. You know, you're not supportive of me with my goals, my dreams, with me being me. So, okay, be gone. And I'm going to be positive. I'm going to be smiling. I'm going to be bright and sunny and shiny anyway without you. Okay. So for Saggies, it could be any life changes, major life changes with the full moon. Not as major as if it were an eclipse or something, but still, you know, you only get a full moon in your sign once per year. All right. So next up is Capricorn. Not again. I have no idea. I'm not. We got work going on here. Hold on. I don't know who that is. Lord have mercy. Children are home. I'm like, don't answer that door. This is a Scorpio house. If we don't know somebody, we don't answer it. So anyhow, I'm sorry. Sagittarians, good luck with changing anything in your life. You only get one full moon per year. Okay? All right. So next up is Capricorn. Capricorn, sun, moon, or rising. How is the full moon in Sag affecting you guys? So this is in your 12th house. Okay. This is on the axis of the 12th and the 6th. So for you guys, this could be as well, just like your opposite sign, Cancer. You guys could be wanting to change something, like when it comes to working a lot, you know, like doing a lot of work, not taking time out for yourself, just doing the most, doing way too much. Cap is one of the biggest signs of hard work and lots of work and just going. So maybe you've been doing that a lot and you haven't even taken a vacation. You haven't even taken a day off, a little hour off to yourself or anything. It's just always work. So a full moon in the 12th will be telling you, chill out, relax, okay? Take some time to yourself. It's okay to spend some of your vacation time, okay? It accumulates, it accrues for a reason. Use it, all right? So it could be something like that. It could be, excuse me, just taking time for self-care in general. Like you don't really take time to take really long showers or baths or do anything really therapeutic and relaxing, not necessarily going somewhere, but just doing those things even within your own home on a day-to-day basis, just taking time out to breathe, okay, to relax. It could be that you guys are tying up loose ends, wrapping up something, completing a cycle with something major in your life. And it could be something emotional because this is a full moon. The moon rules emotions. The 12th house is a water sign house. It's a water house. It's about emotions too. It's about your subconscious, the unconscious mind. Maybe there's some secrets that come to light for you guys as well, Capricorn. Because the water houses can hold some secrets. Full moons illuminate. Okay. So some kind of secrets about your past, about your partner's past, about your family, anything could just be brought to light. Like, oh, okay. I never knew that, or I didn't realize that before, but now I do. And it could be something that's major that helps you to move on from something, especially something very emotional, because next month we have a full moon in Capricorn. And when that's a full moon in your own sign. But before we get to your sign, what's before it? You got to take time to reflect on things that you want to change, especially. Okay. Secrets with the government. Possibly. Yeah, possibly. Especially for Capricorns. Capricorn rules the government. So it could be. But yeah, Cappies, pay attention to your dreams. This is one of those full moons. And you guys are the pay attention to your dreams people. Because, excuse me. Oh, no, I don't know. But yeah, pay attention to your dreams because this is the house of the spiritual world, the unseen world, the spirit realm. All of that stuff is the 12th house. So you could have a really strong connection to that world during this full moon. And you could be dreaming about something and there's like a really important message that's being brought to you by whoever or whatever you believe in spiritually. So yeah, that's for Capricorn. So tying up some loose ends, there could be some emotional things that come to the surface, but it could be something that you've been hiding away and you haven't really been dealing with, but now it's like, okay, it's time to face it. It's time to deal with it, So that's the full moon for Capricorn. Excuse me. So for Aquarius, sun, moon, or rising, the full moon Sagittarius is in your 11th house, and it's on the axis of the 11th and 5th. So this is Aquarian stuff, right? Because you guys are the 11th sign on the zodiac wheel, and the 11th house of your chart, it acts like Aquarius. It has similar themes to Aquarius, which has to do with friendships and networks of people, social media, the internet, websites, technology, people that you can gain from in a way, like it's an advantage to be their friend or their acquaintance because they have the hookup. Okay. So, or you do, you're that type of acquaintance for people too. It could be that. So with Aquarians, it could be, hey, for you guys, a decision of whether or not to remain in a friendship. You know, a friendship could come to, this is a full moon, so it's emotional. So there could be something that like a friend, you felt like they betrayed you, or there's something about the friendship that no longer sits well with you or resonates with you. And it's like, you know what, I can't take it anymore. I don't want to be associated with this person. Or it could be with a group. Maybe you belong to a group or a community, right? But they're just doing things and saying things now that you don't agree with, or that don't match you and your goals and what you represent. Like maybe you've changed and evolved, but this group is still the same. So maybe you decide to leave, you know, some kind of a network or something. It could be for work, it could be for leisure, for a project, for just your personal life, you know, a group of friends you've been hanging out with, but maybe they're like the mean girls, you know, and you don't want to be known as a mean girl. So you're like, you know what, I'm out. I'd rather be solo, you know, and be known as a nice person than be known as a, you know. So yeah, it's all about friendships, groups, networks for Aquarius. You guys are another sign that could be releasing a project on social media or the internet as well. Like, you know, deciding to do that, especially if it's something creative that you've created yourself, because on the opposite end is the sun in the 5th house, you know, of creativity. So, excuse me, that's for Aquarius. So next up is Pisces, sun, moon, or rising. How's the full moon in Sag affecting you guys? So this is in your 10th house, which has to do with your career. So some of you guys, all the water signs actually are having their money, their jobs, or their career affected in some kind of way with this full moon. So you guys could be making a final decision based on your career too. It could be between 2 careers or 2 jobs. Maybe you have different opportunities popping up for you, and you have to decide, which one am I going to take? It could be that you make a decision, you know, because full moons, like lunar events, don't always manifest as some big thing like outside of you. It could be just internal within your own mind, making a decision for yourself or realizing something. So you guys can realize that the career that you're in doesn't really match where you're at anymore, mentally or physically or emotionally or anything. It just doesn't match anymore, right? So you want to take a different path. So you can make that decision with this full moon. It could be to leave a job, to leave a career. Like, I can't take it anymore because these people are crazy at this job, or, you know, my boss is an a-hole, or it could be anything like that. For some of you guys, the decision can also affect family, because on the opposite end is the sun in the 4th house. So maybe for you guys, you're another sign that could be relocating for the sake of a job or career. Or maybe you have a schedule change because your 4th house is involved, which is your family, and they need you, or you need to spend more time at home, or tending to more of your personal life, because your personal life is neglected a little bit. And so, you know, you make a schedule change in your career up there in the 10th house in order to be able to maintain the balance between personal life and career. Or if you are in the public eye in any way, it could be like public image versus personal, private, you know, some kind of decision to separate the two in some kind of way. Like, okay, like if you're in the public eye, well, I no longer want to talk about my family online on social media. Or if you're like on YouTube or a vlogger or something, like, well, I'm going to make the decision that I want to keep my family life private. I'm not going to show on camera like my parents or my kids or anybody, you know, I'm going to keep that down in the 4th house. Okay. So some type of decision that's between home and family and career, mostly based on the career front, is what's happening for Pisces people. Also, it could be a change in your status. Your social status can mean whether or not you're married, whether or not you're divorced. You know, that's a major status change too. So it could be that for some of you guys as well, for Pisces people. Okay, so that's it for the forecast for the week, for the full moon, for everything else that we talked about as a collective. So if you are piecing out because you don't want to hear about celebrities, that's cool. I still love you, and maybe I will see you next week. Don't forget, if you would like a personal reading, a personal forecast, or anything like that, it's below. And I'll try to put in the little I button in the corner, the info button too, of where you can find me on astrolada.com to book a reading for yourself. So now and don't forget, you guys, about the Uranus and Taurus webinar. I get a lot of questions on different platforms about Uranus and Taurus. How is it going to affect me? What's going on? I had a friend who's not an astrologer or really deep into astrology message me yesterday. And she was like, oh my God, I have to ask you, because I know you look at all this astrology stuff. What is going on right now? Why is everybody talking about divorce and breaking up? And what is all this madness going on? And I was like, well, my friend, let me explain to you about Uranus and Taurus. And then a lot of our peers are going through their Uranus opposition. It's began, and that's unfortunately, a common divorce age, common separation age, So I explained that to her just a little bit. But yeah, so Uranus, it entered Taurus last week, but it's not like it was that one big event and now it's over. No, this is the next 8 years, you guys, that we are going to be having this energy zapping us. So if you want to know a little bit more about it, I have a webinar that I did along with Lada, and the link is also below. So you can go watch the replay of that. The replay will be there for a while. And yeah, so go ahead and check that out. Okay, so now let's get into the coffee talk. Okay, so we are going to be discussing Britney Spears and Kevin Federline. Why? Because they are in the news right now because he's trying to get more child support from her. Okay, so I took a brief look at their charts, you guys. And I always look at Astro Theme because they have a data bank of famous and well-known people and their astrology charts. A lot of times they do actually look at the birth certificate and use that as a reference for the birth time to get the ascendant and the houses and everything. But sometimes they don't. And I feel like, I don't know if I should trust, the ascendant that you gave this person, the time that, you know what I mean? Or they get it from, if the person, like I noticed that a lot of celebrities, if they're on Twitter, they will tweet out on their birthday, oh, at 9:05 p.m., 30 years ago, I was born, and then astrology buffs will be like, oh, really now? Let me send this to Astro Theme real quick. Astro Theme, bam, there's their birth time, there's their chart. So sometimes that's the case, but sometimes I'm like, okay, Astro Theme, if you're not listing where you got the birth time from, I don't know if I should trust it. I don't know, unless I really know the person's energy, I tune into their energy, I watch them all the time, or I listen to their music or whatever. That's what I mean by that. Then I'll be like, okay, I think it seems right. But if not, I'm like, I don't know. Anyway, so that was the case for Britney and Kevin for their charts. They had birth times, but they didn't really have references. And I'm like, are you sure about that Astro thing? We'll see. Okay. So they are divorced. Okay. They've been divorced for years. They have 2 children. They have 2 boys. And I think the boys are only a year apart. They're preteens. And Kevin Federline also has 2 children from a previous relationship to Britney Spears, and then 2 children from a relationship after Britney Spears. I think he has remarried, and he has a new wife and 2 young children. So this guy has a total of 6 kids. Excuse me, 4 of them live with him, including the 2 from Britney Spears. So he's demanding more child support. And Britney is living it up. From what I've seen and heard, she's got a such and such square foot home. I don't know. Watch Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams broke it down. She went through all Britney's little details of her life and how she's living, right? She's living large, okay? She's making millions of dollars a year because of her career. Kevin Federline, on the other hand, not doing as well as her. Okay, I think he DJs and he does some other things for a living that don't make millions of dollars a year like Britney does. So he's trying to balance things out. Like, okay, these are your kids too. You make all that money. I don't. Like, there has to be a balance here. I think the kids stay with Britney part-time. They're in pictures with her a lot. So Kevin may like bring the kids to her or something, which I'm sure that takes money and expenses to do, to fly out or to drive or whatever, you know. So there's a lot of expenses involved in taking care of kids, yes. So anyhow, let me show you guys their charts. I read a headline that said that Britney is afraid that Kevin will try to not allow her to see them, like keep her from seeing them as often as she wants for some reason, that she was worried about that. And I was like, when I hear stuff like that, when I hear sayings, phrases, or something about someone's personality, I hear, I know this sounds weird, but I hear signs in my head. I hear the sign. Like when she said, oh, I'm afraid he might, blah, blah, I heard Cancer. He might have Cancer energy somewhere. That sounds like what I've heard a lot of Cancers will do, right? And Wendy Williams was like, well, Britney, how come, what's wrong with you that you can't be a parent and take care of your kids? Well, Wendy Williams is a Cancer. Her sun sign is Cancer. And Britney, I was like, well, I know Britney's a Sag. And Sages are, I'm going to be honest here, and maybe a little blunt. Some of you guys may be like, boo, thumbs down, and you're wrong, and whatever. But from observing people astrologically for years, I'll tell you one thing. The majority of people that I encounter, some way or another, that do not like kids, they don't want to have kids, they think kids are fun, but they're not for them. They only have one kid and they're happy with that. They're like, I don't need a bunch of kids. They have kids, but maybe the kids live somewhere else with another parent or other family members elsewhere. And they're like, whatever, still going on living their lives. Okay. Usually it's Sagittarius and or Aquarius are involved, to where they're not that mommy or daddy that just stays home all the time and wants to just be coddling their kids and does everything with their kids. Cancers are like that. Leos can be like that. But Sag and Aquarius, they look at life differently. They see it in a different light. Like there's more out there. They're two of the signs that rule. There's so much more out there. There's more out there to do. They're at the top of the zodiac. Okay. And Cancer and Leo are kind of like at the bottom, which is more private and more about home life and comfort and everything. And then Sag and Aquarius are like, what's out there? How can I connect with everybody out there? You know what I'm saying? So I knew that Britney was a Sag. So I'm like, well, number one, Wendy, she's a Sag. Wendy, you need to get with the astrology here, okay? Because your Cancer behind is not going to understand a Sagittarius being cool with being a part-time parent, okay? And I'm not saying anything is right or wrong. I'm just explaining things astrologically of my observations, okay? Janine says, I'm an Aquarius and I want kids when I'm 40. Okay, well, there you go. I know so many Aquarians like that and Sagittarians. Let me tell you guys, before I show their chart, one last thing. I have a group of friends. Well, they're more like acquaintances, not super duper close friends, but I used to hang out with them all the time when I had only one kid, an older kid, right? Only one. And I was single. I hung out with them all the time. And I started to observe and notice, see, I can't really do as much hanging out as you guys do because I am still a parent. But all y'all are hanging out all the time with each other, you know, like siblings, but you're not. How are you able to travel together all the time? Go here, go there, do this, do that. I got invited to so many things by this huge network of friends all the time, but half the time I had to say no because I have parental duties. Okay, I have a kid, I guess, you know. And then I started noticing, you know what? None of them have kids. I called them the no kids crew in my head. I'm like, the no kids crew. They're going out again. They want to, you know, They're inviting me out and stuff, but I'm like, I don't have a babysitter, or I have this, or my kid has that, you know. They don't have kids, or it's like they have a dog. Okay, they had a dog or something. Okay, Sages, I've noticed a lot of Sag people, they don't have kids, but they have dogs. And or they had one kid that lived with another parent or grandparents or something. You know what I'm saying? Like they were always out, always traveling everywhere. They were all Sagittarius or Aquarius or both. If they were both, then they definitely had no kids. They had none. And maybe a dog, like I said, or a cat that could take care of itself, you know, go catch a little bird or something outside while they're on vacation, you know? So that's why I feel like Britney Spears is a part-time parent, and she's cool with it. She's cool with it because of that Sag energy. Now, after I said that, okay. You know what, Kimara, I agree with you on that, but for some reason, a lot of them, they have dogs, and it's maybe easier to get a dog sitter than a kid. I don't know. I've never been like that. I've always been a parent. I've been a parent since I was 18. Okay. So I don't know about that dog life. Okay. Now let me show you their charts. Okay. Of Britney and Kevin, and why their parenting situation is the way it is. It's a little different. You know, it's a little different. Okay. So let me screen share. I'll show you guys Britney's chart first. I'll show you what I found. Because I was like, Britney sounds a lot like some of the friends that I have with the part-time, you know, parenting. That some of the kids live somewhere else. Okay. What did we find with Britney's chart? Okay, so they have Britney listed as a Libra rising. I don't know. I'm just going to say I don't know Britney well. I don't know her at all, actually. Except what I mean by that is some people might get mad by me saying this. I'm not like the biggest Britney fan, okay? I'm not saying, oh, I don't like Britney. No, I'm not like the biggest fan to where I watch a lot of her interviews and I really observe her and I listen to her music enough to feel her energy out on a deep level. That's what I mean by that. To know if this is intuitively right for her to be a Libra rising, but excuse me. Oh my God. Sorry, you guys. No, go away. Okay. Sorry about that. So we'll roll with this. We'll see if this Libra rising works. Okay. So they have Britney as a Libra rising, and she is a Sagittarius Sun and Mercury. So here we have that Sag energy. Like I said, Sag is about freedom. Sag likes to travel. Sag likes to do its own thing. Doesn't really like for people to hold them back from going after their goals, their dreams, their aspirations, their career, whatever they want to do. They're here, there, and everywhere, and they're happy being like that. You know, it's hard to sit in one spot, especially if you are a third house Sag, because third house energy is very mercurial. It's very Gemini. It's even more here, there, and everywhere all at once. So Britney is a mover and a shaker, like my grandma, one of my grandmas. I think she has Venus in Sagittarius or Mars in Sag. She's 80 something years old talking about I'm a mover and a shaker, and she's always traveling and stuff. Okay. So Britney's a mover and a shaker. Okay. And this is why, it's because that Sag energy, it's high energy. It's always, you know, got to be doing something. And also look at this. What did we find here? Aquarius moon. Now, no matter what if her ascendant is incorrect or if it's correct, it doesn't matter. The moon was in Aquarius that day that she was born. She's an Aquarius moon. So the moon is how you mother. It's how you nurture. What are Aquarians known for as far as their emotions? They're a little bit more aloof. They're a little bit more detached. They're not, oh, bougie baby, let me stay home and cuddle. Aquarius, generally speaking, about just Aquarius energy by itself, is not like that. So when it's applied to the moon, which is about coddling and nurturing and babying and all that, she's a little more emotionally detached. Not saying that she does. I'm not saying, oh, she doesn't love her kids. No, I'm saying that she's not like super attached like maybe a Cancer would be, or like a fourth houser or somebody, you know? She has different ways of parenting. Usually Aquarius moons they like to teach their kids independence. And Sagittarians and Capricorns, these three signs are the main ones that I find. They teach their kids independence. So that means you're hungry. Hey, I've taught you how to cook. I taught you how to fry an egg. Go make it yourself. Okay. My sister is an Aquarius moon. She has 2 kids. That's exactly how she parents. Hey, you're hungry? Go make yourself a sandwich. Get out of my face. I've got things to do. So she could be more of that type of a parent. And she's an Aquarius energy is said to be emotionally distant. Sagittarius is cool with, hey, if you've noticed, long distance relationships with even dating. Sag is the #1 sign that's down with that. So maybe even with parenting, she's cool with long distance parenting, you know? So that's why she is the way that she is. Plus her Mercury is conjunct Uranus, Uranus ruling Aquarius, giving it its qualities. Her thinking is very outside the box with things. So she just has alternative, quote unquote, ways of thinking and doing. So when it comes to her lifestyle with being a parent, that's how she is. Okay. So I think that's why some people are like, oh my God, I don't understand. Not every parent is the same. Not everyone's going to parent the same. We're not all Cancers. We're not all fourth housers. We don't all have the moon in the first. You know what I'm saying? It's different for everyone. So she's a little different with her parenting. All right. Now that we got that out of the way. Okay. So why is this whole child support thing coming about for Britney and Kevin? Well, #1, if this degree of her rising is correct, if it really is 2 degrees of Libra, well, Chiron just went into Aries. And, and that would make her 4th house cusp 2 degrees of Capricorn. Well, Aries and Capricorn square each other. So Chiron would be starting to square the cusp of her 4th house. Chiron can rule painful experiences, ones that can bring you, a lot of emotional distress or something sometimes. Honestly, that's not the only thing it brings. Yes, it could bring some positive things, but, just focusing on her issue here of she's afraid Kevin may keep her from seeing the kids. He's trying to get her for more child support. So there's something a little painful and emotional that's going on family-wise with Chiron squaring the 4th house cusp. Okay. And also, whether this ascendant is correct or not, the moon being in Aquarius and ruling parenting, family, nurturing, and home, there have been eclipses in the sign of Aquarius since 2017. Okay. Eclipses on the moon can affect parenthood in some way or another. Some new beginnings, some endings, some major changes can happen. So also Saturn is here in her 4th house, and Saturn is now retrograde. And what does Kevin want to redo? He wants to redo the child support order. Okay. And that has to do with family. So there could be, that's all I heard about was the child support. Could be custody as well. Whether or not the kids are in her home and how often they are. All of that could be some 4th house stuff. And the next thing, look at her 8th house cusp. What is it? It's an early degree of Taurus. Now, the 8th house does also deal with divorces and separations, especially separation of assets, it's separation of money, of property, and custody of children. Okay, alimony and child support are found here in the 8th house. So Uranus just entered here. So there's some extreme ups and downs that she's facing again with the whole money thing, okay, like with her former spouse. Now let's look at Kevin's chart. Okay, so they have a birth time, but they don't even have a reference of where they got this birth time. So I'm not sure about his birth time either, guys, but we'll roll with it, okay? So he's supposedly a Libra rising as well. And what that means is same thing that's going on with Britney is going on with him as far as the children, the home life, which is the 4th house. His fourth house cusp would be 12 degrees of Capricorn, according to this chart. So Chiron hasn't yet by degrees started making any angles and aspects to it. But look at here. He has a sun at 1 degree of Aries. Chiron is, I believe it's at 1 degree of Aries by now. And excuse me. So the sun rules fatherhood for men. It could rule fatherhood for them. So if Chiron is hitting the sun, there's something going on with fatherhood that he feels like he's a victim. You know, Chiron can rule victimization, or there's some kind of painful something that he feels about his place in fatherhood. And now he wants to try to make it right. And maybe he feels like the money is going to help out with him being able to be the proper father that he feels he could be. Okay. And also, remember when I said there was a quote that said, it was from Britney, that said, oh, I'm worried about Kevin possibly not letting me see the kids as much or something like that. Well, I told you, I was like, where's his Cancer at? He has Mars in Cancer. And now, before anybody gets all butthurt, I'm not saying all Cancers are like that. They all do, all 100%. No, it's common. It's a common repeated pattern that I see. Okay, it's more prominent in signs like Mars and Cancer. The way that a Mars and Cancer can seek out revenge towards like their spouse or their former spouse or whatever could be through the kids. Like fine, then I'll show you. And I don't know, they just do stuff like that, guys. Okay, without me getting fully into bashing them or anything like that. No, they can act that way. I've seen it. I've not experienced it, but I have a lot of people close to me that have dealt with that. And there's usually some Cancer energy involved with that. Fine, I'm going to keep the kids from you. I'll show you. Or I know that the way to hurt you is through your kids, so I'm going to blah, 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 blah. You know, they could be, Mars and Cancer can seek revenge like that. Okay. So what she's afraid of, maybe that's why. But also the good thing about him having Mars and Cancer is maybe that's why he's so willing to take care of his children and have them in his home. And he's really concerned about their welfare, is because Cancer energy really cares for their kids, usually really deeply cares for their kids. It's very nurturing energy. And he probably really wants to give them the best life with his Cancer Mars. If it is in his 10th house. Okay. 10th house is about having the best, the absolute best. So maybe he does want to give his kids the best life, but, and maybe he sees a way to provide that is through more child support money. Okay. So, now he has also Uranus is, going to start moving through his 8th house. It's actually in the sign of his 8th house now. So that's also why the whole money, you know, from divorce, separation, child support, and all that is, coming up for him too, is because of that transit. And also there was a new moon in Taurus this month in May. Mercury's been in Taurus, you know, so there's more talks about this 8th house stuff of joint finances and money. So if you are a Libra or especially Libra rising, and you're going through any of this stuff too, and you don't mind sharing, let us know. And also people might say, well, if Britney is the Sag Aquarius, it isn't really too bougie baby mommy, like coddling with kids. Why would she have kids with this guy? Because they just popped out 2 kids pretty quick from what I remember. Well, here's a little synastry thing for you guys. And I know I've showed this before in other couples charts here. Okay. If you are with somebody and your planets fall in their 4th house and or 5th house, that's usually an indicator that you will move in together quickly and or have kids together quickly. I see it time and time again, okay? Time and time again. And if his rising indeed is Libra, Britney has her Venus in his 4th house and her moon in his 5th house. 5th house is children. 4th house is home and moving in together and being comfortable and building a life together and all that stuff, all right? So that's why they got together like that, you know, and it just had kids very easily. 5th house is fertility as well. So her moon, which is parenthood and pregnancy and all that, fell into his 5th house of fertility. I mean, hello. Okay. So, that's why this stuff is coming up for them right now, you guys. Other than that, I mean, what else with their synastry? I didn't really look at too many, like, you know, what's their compatibility or anything like that, because they're long divorced. But I just wanted to show you guys what we look at sometimes when people are going through something difficult in their lives, like what transits can bring stuff like that about for others. You know what I'm saying? And when people ask, oh, well, what direction do you see my relationship going in, you know, during a relationship reading, I can give warnings of these times that could be a lot more sensitive. And, you know, there could be some major things, some major storms ahead. That way, you know, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. And maybe you can be prepared and aware and try to do your best to avoid any of the worst happening, you know, or if you're going through the worst, you can understand when and why and how long it's going to be going on by looking at it in astrology. Okay, so that's it, you guys. That's what I wanted to show you with Britney and Kevin and why they're going through this this whole thing. And yeah, there could be some custody stuff going on too, because if their risings are indeed Libra, Saturn's in their 4th house, Uranus is in the 8th. You know, these 2 planets will be making a trine aspect sometime in the summertime, which is usually good. So it could help them to work things out. If it was a more tense aspect between the, you know, those 2 planets and those 2 houses, maybe I'd be like, oh my gosh, it's going to be a knockout, drag out fight or whatever. But maybe the trine of Uranus in the 8th, Saturn in the 4th can help them to work out the family home situation and the money situation. So we shall see. We shall see. Okay. Excuse me. Let me see what you guys are saying real quick, and then I will sign off. Oh yeah, Kevin Federline. I think because he has Mars in Cancer, that's also why he has so many kids, because a lot of times, just being real, I've heard that Cancer men with Cancer positions like that in their chart, especially Mars, they like the idea of creating children. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to say that. So that's it, you guys, for this week's forecast. I hope you enjoyed it. Of course, leave me comments. I'll try to go back before next week and see if you guys have any other suggestions of any celebrities to look at. I've had people email them to me too, which has been really great. And I save them in a little folder, you know, in case that person pops up in the news, and I'll be like, yeah, let me go grab them. So, yeah. Oh, Freddie Mercury. Oh my gosh, that's a good one, because isn't there a movie coming out about his life? Oh my goodness. So let's do, I'm gonna write down Freddie Mercury. Good one. Thank you for suggesting that. Okay. Okay, guys. So that's it for this week. Have a wonderful weekend. Oh, Memorial Day weekend in the States. So if you're celebrating, if you're going out of town, if you're going out on the lake, any of that stuff, be safe, be careful, have a great holiday. And don't forget, hit me up for a reading. If you would like, check out my Uranus and Taurus webinar. If you want to see what Uranus and Taurus may bring to you, like we just saw for Britney and Kevin, what is bringing to them, okay, then check it out. It's available for replay. So peace out, guys. I will see you guys next week, and have a great week and weekend.